What's going on, everyone? So reports have came out that the Cleveland Cavaliers are expecting Donovan Mitchell to sign the extension. Also, the Cleveland Cavaliers are expected to not trade their core pieces, right? There's a lot of talks of like, hey, if Donovan Mitchell decides to stick around, Darius Garland is going to request and demand a trade. Now, that doesn't mean that the Cleveland Cavaliers have to trade him. It just usually it's like, hey, if the player wants out, let's do what we can to get rid of him, bring back some assets, especially with Donovan Mitchell. Right, there are questions of does Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell fit as a duo? Where Donovan Mitchell is usually the guy with the ball in his hands. He's usually the guy that's making the plays and distributing or looking to score and be aggressive. Darius Garland, he's kind of just the initiator, comes up, sets up the plays, and then he's kind of playing off ball. Right. It's not that Darius Garland doesn't want to be in Cleveland or that he doesn't like it there or that he doesn't like Donovan Mitchell. He just looks at it as like, hey, like I can't be the best player that I can be playing alongside Donovan Mitchell because we both kind of want to do the same thing in a lot of ways. But this is bad news for the Lakers. Not like, look, Donovan Mitchell was always a long shot. I don't really think Donovan Mitchell was ever really going to be a Laker. I've talked about it heavily. I don't think it's impossible, right? But I think it's very unlikely. The only way I really see Donovan Mitchell being and working his way over to the Lakers is if he pulls essentially an Anthony Davis, where he's like, hey, I'm not going anywhere else but the Los Angeles Lakers. So, like, you can trade for me, you can do whatever you want, but as soon as I have the opportunity, I'm leaving and I'm bailing and I'm going to Lakers, which usually scares teams away and then would allow the Lakers to basically go and do what's necessary to land Donovan Mitchell. Now, I don't think that that's very likely. Even if there's just one, like even if it's Brooklyn, like he's like, hey, I want to go to Lakers. I prefer the Lakers, but I'm open to like Brooklyn or something. Like now at that point, like the Lakers are probably going to be faded out. There are talks and there have been rumors for a while that Donovan Mitchell wants to go to a big market. That it's essentially the New York Knicks or the Los Angeles Lakers. The Knicks don't really make a lot of sense for Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell doesn't really make sense for the Knicks anymore. Got to remember, when they first wanted Donovan Mitchell, that was before they knew what Brunson was. That was before Brunson's real emergence. So it was kind of like, okay, let's go get Donovan Mitchell, see what Brunson could be. Right now, it's like Brunson is essentially another version of Donovan Mitchell in a lot of ways. So it doesn't really make sense there. So the idea was that, like, hey, he may end up kind of pushing and forcing his way to the Los Angeles Lakers. But if he goes and signs that new extension with the Cavs, and if Cleveland doesn't look to trade Darius Garland, even if he wants to be traded, then again, that hurts the Lakers because the Lakers' plan is to try to go get another star. Yes, there is the depth route, and I know a lot of people prefer the depth route, and I do think the Lakers will go the depth route if they can't find that other star. Problem is that, like, even if you did want to go to the depth route, what does that look like? Because a lot of the idea of the depth route is a guy like a DeJounte Murray and then another piece or two or whatever. Which, again, if Darius Garland is off the table, Donovan Mitchell is off the table, that's two targets for not only the Lakers, but also other teams that are looking to try to acquire those guys, right? San Antonio Spurs, for example, are apparently like enamored with the idea of bringing in Darius Garland and wanted to push hard for Darius Garland, right? Well, if he's off the table, right, then guys like DeJounte Murray become more valuable to teams like the Pelicans or teams like the Spurs or whoever else kind of comes out of the woodworks and goes, hey, we want, even a team like Orlando's kind of looking for a point guard. So, this would put the Lakers in a position to where the more competition, the less likely it is that the Lakers end up landing somebody, right? Because if you have Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell available, right, and let's say the Spurs end up trading for Darius Garland, well, then that takes them out of the picture, right? And then now it's just one less team. And then, let's say, Lauri Markkanen becomes available. And it's like, okay, well, a team like the Thunder, they go and take him. And like that's another team that's off the table, right? Like what the Lakers want is like they have this guy over. They either have a guy force his way to the Lakers, like, again, Donovan Mitchell, or B, everybody's looking over here while the Lakers are coming in and taking the guy that they want over here, right? So, like, let's say that they want, DeJounte Murray. They're working out trying to land DeJounte while everybody's kind of stumbling over themselves for Darius Garland, right? And everyone's like, oh, we'd rather have Darius Garland because he's younger, he's this, that, and the other. And everyone's kind of pushing hard for Garland, and that would put the Lakers in a position where it's like, hey, let's get this deal done for DeJounte Murray. Then you can land that, right? The thing is, and this is why I keep defaulting to like it's probably going to be Trey if the Lakers end up landing Trey, because the market for DeJounte Murray is going to be bigger than for Trey, right? Because DeJounte Murray is making like half, or not that much, but pretty close, making like 40% less than what Trae Young is making. I don't think very many teams are going to go after Trey because they'd have to give up not only picks but also players to basically supplement that salary that they're taking in. And how many teams are in a position to A, need a point guard, B, need another star, and C, have the pieces to go and get a guy like Trey and still have a competitive team and roster, right? Most teams don't have that. Lakers are kind of in this position where it's like they do have a bunch of role players that, like, I know some people want to keep certain guys, but if you could get a guy like a Trey, I know a lot of people don't like Trey. I'm not really sold on Trey. I'm not really big on Trey. But I just think the more that information's coming out, the more it looks like he's probably going to be available. And according to reports, Atlanta is really kind of weighing just hitting the reset button and completely rebuilding around the number one pick. So basically trade DeJounte, trade Trae Young, trade, Bogdanovich, trade Clint Capella. Basically unload the entire roster, keep, Jalen Johnson, and the number one pick and kind of build around those guys, right? Like that's kind of the direction that they're leaning towards. And so I just think, again, everybody, like if Garland and Mitchell are off the table, I think everybody's going to move their focus to DeJounte Murray, and that's just not good for the Lakers. So now the Lakers are in a position where it's like, okay, well, DeJounte was a big part of our plans. What else do we do? It's like, are we going to overpay for role guys? Are we just going to stand pat? Or do we take a chance and a flyer on a guy like Trey where, he raises our ceiling now, he makes sense for the future post LeBron James, and he's a guy that if it works and you can make it work, the Lakers would be a very good basketball team. Again, just my thoughts, right? You also don't know who could potentially come available during the offseason. We're not even officially in the offseason. There could be guys right now that are being talked about behind the scenes that we aren't even aware of, right? That maybe come to light at the trade or at the draft day or something, right? So there is always a possibility that other guys become available or there's other options on the table as we move into free agency and the offseason. Also, there's always that player that's kind of waiting and is just going, all right, let's see what my team does. All right, they didn't do what I like. Let me get out of here and kind of, demand that trade. But, I just think that it's if these are true, again, you're going off of reports in June, right? Like, again, we're not even in the offseason. It's very possible that Donovan Mitchell doesn't sign that extension, or even if he does, that they may end up still trading Darius. Maybe Darius Garland really pushes hard to get traded, to get moved, and maybe the Cavs finally cave. Right? There's a lot of different possibilities and outcome that could happen, but it just kind of leads me to, like, if it is true and the Cavs do intend to keep everybody and they don't plan on kind of trading or moving anybody, then it's kind of like, okay, you're probably looking at Trae Young or maybe, like, again, a Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso, which the Lakers are supposedly interested in acquiring Zach LaVine if they can get Caruso in the deal, because essentially Zach LaVine is looked at as just like a salary dump, but he makes a lot of sense for the Lakers, right? He's a guy that can play off ball, excellent off ball shooter. He's a guy that can score in bunches. He's an absolute bucket getter, still got athleticism, can add some athleticism and just speed and versatility out on the perimeter, right? A guy that can initiate the offense. He really showed with the Bulls his ability to kind of fit in and kind of be more of a playmaker for the Chicago Bulls. I think he could do a lot of that with the Lakers. He wants to be a Laker. He's a guy that, homegrown. He's talked publicly, like in an all-star game, that he'd love to play with LeBron and Anthony Davis one day. This could be his opportunity, but there's got to be a little incentive to take on Zach LaVine if you're the Lakers. So it's like, can you get an Alex Caruso in the deal? Even if you have to give up a first or something like that, you'd still have basically 2 firsts, multiple picks, all that stuff. That's an option. Where as opposed to Trey, it's like you're gonna have to give up the same amount of stuff, like salary wise and player wise, to go get Trey as you would Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso. But on top of that, you're probably trading all of your firsts, right? So you're probably unloading everything to go get Trey. Where you look at it like a Zach LaVine and Caruso, you're doing Chicago a favor by getting off of LaVine's contract. And again, these are reports from Chicago. This isn't like Laker news or me just personally, like, oh hey, LaVine would be good. No, like this is from like NBC Sports Chicago and the Chicago Tribune and stuff like that are like, hey, Chicago just basically is like whoever wants him can have him. It's essentially a free player, but it's because again his salary, his fit with the Bulls compared, especially with Colby White's emergence, right? There's a lot of factors that go into that. So to me, I would like if let's say Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, they're off the table. Obviously, if you can get DeJounte Murray, because getting DeJounte would allow you to go make moves for other pieces and other players. So to me, if you at least throw your hat in the ring for DeJounte, but if he's off the table, then I'd kind of pivot to LaVine and Caruso. If you can get that done, great. If you can't, then I think if all else fails, you go get Trey. Like Trey's kind of like my last resort type player. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you disappointed in this? Are you happy about this? Do you think like it doesn't matter? We're probably not getting Donovan Mitchell either way. That's kind of what my thoughts are. My only concern is that again, this is just if this does turn out to be true, kind of just the well getting more dry, and we're running out of water here to fill up our cups. So that's where my struggle lies in that regard. But anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.